What is going on, everybody? I'm Clayton Sayfie with EJ Holland. We are from the Wolverine.com. You can check our content out over there. Use the promo code Nike75. You can sign up for your first year of our premium content for 25% off, and you get a free $75 Nike gift card. So it's basically a free year. If you're going to buy somebody a gift for Christmas, if you have anyone in your life that likes Nike, do that. Get them their gift and get yourself a subscription to the Wolverine.com, all of our premium content. We had a ton of it, especially over the weekend. But we're going to talk about the games that we saw over the weekend, going out and checking out high school recruits. EJ was on the road in the Detroit area for 2 games over the weekend. I saw a game right in the heart of Detroit on Friday night. So we'll start with Friday. EJ, we'll start with you, your Friday night game. You were able to see Rivals 250 athlete target in 2022, Taishan Trent for East Point High School. So talk about that, and then I'll go into my game again about at Cass Tech to see Raheem Anderson, and then we can shift over to Saturday, which is really the headliner game when you're able to see West Bloomfield against Sterling Heights Stevenson. But start with your game from Friday night, Taishan Trent and East Point.
Yeah, so I saw East Point against King, so it also gave me another chance to see elite 2023 quarterback Dante Moore on the other side, who I've seen more than any other prospect this season. Public school league flexibility kind of lends to that as far as when they schedule games. But first time seeing Tayshaun Trent this season, just a really intriguing athlete. He is, as you mentioned, a Rivals 250 prospect. I think that's a little high. For me, he's still more of a high 3-star prospect, mostly because I just don't know what he is. He's still a very raw player that has position flexibility in terms of being able to be an outside linebacker or a wide receiver or a tight end. Like, I just don't know what he's going to be yet. He definitely does have that athleticism. He does have some good, natural abilities, but I just I haven't seen him put it together at one position, and he's a big kid already. I don't know how much weight he's going to add with him being a 2022. I just feel like he's one of the most difficult recruits to rank right now and properly evaluate, just because what he is this year, he's probably not going to be next year at this time. So I think I mean, I talked to his head coach when I visited East Point a couple of months ago, and he even told me he thinks that Tayshaun Trent could end up on the defensive side of the ball. So he's just a really intriguing guy at about 6'3" or 4", 225 pounds. East Point didn't have the best game. King kind of blew him out, got up on them early. And so Trent wasn't, overly involved. He suffered from some bad quarterback play. He did have an amazing catch on like 4th and 43 or something crazy and picked up like 65, 70 yards. But other than that, he was just really quiet. But I mean, again, which kind of adds into the difficulty of rating him. It wasn't necessarily his fault. It was more so they couldn't get him involved. And then on defense, I mean, Dante Moore just ate him up. And so talking about Dante Moore, again, the more I see him, the more I love him. They actually let him run this time, which he never runs. If you watch this film, it's all just him staying in the pocket and throwing. But they let him run, and he, busted off like a 50-yard touchdown run. He had a couple other first down runs. He's not like, at first I was like, this guy kind of looks like Colin Kaepernick, but he's not as explosive as a runner. I think he's more like a Pat Mahomes, who prefers to just sit in the pocket and sling it around, and he can make throws rolling out to his left or his right. And if you notice, Pat Mahomes has athleticism; he just never runs. And when he does run, he can pick up some good chunk yards. And so that's kind of what I see with Dante Moore. And it's always awful to make that type of comparison. Like, I hate making a comparison to Pat Mahomes. I mean, he's the best quarterback in the league right now. But Dante Moore has a similar playing style as a Pat Mahomes. I'm not saying he's going to be Pat Mahomes. Nobody can really be Pat Mahomes, but he has a similar playing style. They share some similar traits. Dante Moore has a terrific arm, especially for 2023, elite level talent, elite level mechanics. a guy that can, sling it deep. He can hit all the short and intermediate routes, very knowledgeable of the game. And like I said, can make throws rolling out to either side. So Dante Moore's a really impressive looking prospect early on. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a 5-star guy when it's all said and done.
So future NFL MVP Dante Moore, got it. Um,
Yeah,
totally,
exactly.
completely understood. Okay, so yeah, good stuff there from that game. We'll get to your Saturday game in a second because that is obviously the big one. I'll talk about my game really quickly. Was Cass Tech against Woodhaven on Friday night, right downtown Detroit at Cass Tech. Um, Kind of a cool environment. I joked with some of our subscribers on the message board that I was going to go play a couple games of blackjack in between, right at halftime to kind of warm up over at MGM or Greektown or Motor City. Um, anyway, I did not do that, but I did catch the game. It was freezing, but it was good to see Raheem Anderson. You and I were out. You've seen him a couple times this year, but we were out in the summer to see him in a workout that he organized with some of his teammates. He's a great leader. You could tell that right off the bat. We already knew that going in, but it was just good to see kind of the way that he, has that confidence that he's the guy in charge of that offensive line. He's the guy on that offense that kind of makes things go. He has the ball in his hands every single snap. So obviously that's important for a center to have, and he certainly has that. As far as the way he played, very, very good, very technically sound. And like I said, kind of has that confidence. Like, while he's blocking, I was watching him pass protect, and he was kind of like pass protecting, and then he's just has his head on a swivel, like looking at the guy next to him, making sure everything's all right. All right, nobody's gonna come through the gap next to me, and just kind of is completely under control. I thought the same thing about his run blocking, and I was kind of thinking of this during the game. How could a guy like Raheem Anderson help Michigan? Based on what I see from the team and covering the team on the field, and then watching this recruit. How could he help Michigan? His combo blocking is really good, where, and that's important for a center. He's double teaming a guy inside with the guard, and he takes over that guy so quickly. The guard's able to get to the next level, get to the linebacker super quickly, and that's a problem Michigan's having right now on the field when they do run an inside zone or something like that. They're not able to get off of that defensive tackle and get to the linebacker quick enough, and that's why you see so many 2-yard gains where the linebacker is just dominating in basically getting right to the line of scrimmage and meeting Michigan's running back head to head. So I thought, from in terms of the context of how's Raheem Anderson going to help Michigan down the road in what they want to do, it's zone blocking. It is being a really good pass protector, and he just seemed completely under control. We love the leadership about him. What's not to like, I guess, about Raheem Anderson? And then Deion Walker, defensive tackle, target. We've kind of talked about him. EJ, you've seen him a couple times. He was at the workout that we were both at. This was my second time seeing him, first time in game. I agree with you that he seemed a little sloppy in that workout that we saw, and he was a little better in game, seems a little more polished, and you've kind of talked about how he's progressed a little bit, and every time you see him, he's a little better. He made a couple plays. He's absolutely massive. We describe him as a mammoth defensive tackle. So, intriguing prospect, isn't totally like put together physically or technically yet, but there's certainly upside there. And if you're Michigan, who can't seem to land a defensive tackle, there's going to get to a point where you might as well take him, I guess, and have a big body in there that has some upside. So, a lot to like about Raheem Anderson. Deion Walker's still an intriguing guy. But that's it from my game on Friday night, other than I couldn't feel my hands after the game driving home. So that's about it. Let's go to Saturday. It was obviously a huge visit weekend for Michigan commits, a few targets. And then you were able to see Donovan Edwards, who is obviously the biggest target in 2021 remaining, running back for West Bloomfield. He did come to Michigan, or come to Ann Arbor, hang out with some of the guys on Saturday night after his game. And then Dillon Tatum, obviously a huge one as well. 2022 athlete target, defensive back target. So talk about them, I guess, and what you saw. Amir Herring, Micah Williams. I believe there's another guy. I mean, West Bloomfield loaded with guys that Michigan wants to grab here.
Yeah, a ton of offers out at West Bloomfield, and obviously on the other side, you had Giovanni Ahati, Michigan offensive line commit. So it was a huge game for Michigan recruiting purposes. It was supposed to be a really good, close game, and it was 56-6 at halftime. So it was not a good game. Uh, Starting off with Donovan, I mean, he had 6 touchdowns in the first half, but I want to say all 6 of those touchdowns came in the first 18 minutes of play. So yeah, he counted them out for us, and then immediately told the ref he was sorry for doing so. But no, I mean, spectacular performance from Donovan. I think one of the most dominant first halves in like Michigan high school football history. Like, I would be curious to see if anybody else has scored 6 touchdowns in the first 18 minutes. I mean, that's what I'm terrible at math. That's what, a touchdown every
Every 3
3
minutes.
minutes. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's nuts. But he's great, man. I mean, I wasn't overly sold on Donovan. I always thought he was a great player, but I think he took that next step into the elite category. I think he's improved his strength. I mean, he stiff armed a couple of guys and laughed at him, and obviously I laughed because he was stiff arming and laughing at them. So he's stronger. He's more it looks like he's added a little bit more weight, but he's with that. I think it's more muscle weight, and so he's more explosive. He looks faster, and he's just hitting the hole so hard. And so I've likened him to Aaron Jones, which has been unpopular as we talked about, but I think is might be more popular since Aaron Jones is having a great year. He plays as a receiver. One of his 6 touchdowns was actually a fade ball over 2 guys in the end zone. He's just a guy that picks up a bunch of big chunk yards and is capable of breaking some long ones as well. I think Donovan's your 3 down back that an offense can run to. We've seen Michigan with a very weird and horrible running back rotation that doesn't seem very effective. I think Donovan can be a bell cow. And, as much as the Packers talk about Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers, the offense really does this year if you watch the Packers run through Aaron Jones. And so as much as, in this class, we've talked about J.J. McCarthy and Xavier Worthy, I think if Michigan can land Donovan Edwards, that's the guy that the offense will run through in the future. So obviously a huge target for Michigan. I just put up a story with some quotes from him and had a ton of information on Into the Blue. So make sure to subscribe to the Wolverine.com for that. But obviously Donovan was phenomenal. Aside from Donovan, with the underclassmen, Michigan has offered 4-star athlete Michael Williams. He did not play. I think he's been out for most of the year. Not exactly sure what his injury is. The guy I was really intrigued to see is Dillon Tatum, Rivals 250 athlete, kind of in that last tier of the Rivals 250. I want to say he's like number 250, so
I
he's
think
kind
he's
of
like
barely in
I
there.
think he's like 249, but yeah, this is the guy I've been impressed with all year because you've been sending me to all these West Bloomfield games, and I can't get enough of this kid.
Yeah, so originally it was thought that Dillon was going to be like a 1-2 combo running back guy with Donovan, but he's a starter in the defensive backfield and he's a baller in the secondary, and I think that's where um, his future lies. I don't think he's going to be on the offensive side of the ball. You can use him there in certain packages. He's The thing with Dillon is he's so explosive and he's so athletic and he's built so well. Like, this is a bigger kid. Like, he's not small. Like, he's built really well. He's a really strong kid. I could see him playing corner. See him playing safety, nickel. I think you just put him somewhere in the secondary. And he has great speed. And so, Michigan's always recruited these tall, long corners that don't necessarily have great speed. I think Dillon Tatum still has the height. He doesn't have like super long arms like a Will Johnson, but he still has good length, but he brings a lot of speed. He's an explosive athlete. I think you can use him, like I said, all over the secondary. And I think with Dillon, he's just finding his way. Like, his best days are ahead of him. He's just finding his way as a defensive back, because I think the preference for him was to play on the offensive side early on. But I think once Dillon hones in on being a DB, once he gets coaching as a pure DB, I think that the sky's the limit with Dillon. Really like him. And I think at the end of the day, you could see, Dillon surpass someone like Miles Rouser in the rankings because the upside's there. Like he's just scratching the surface on being a full time defensive back. Um, and then, sticking with underclassmen yet, Amir Herring in the 2023 class obviously opened up some holes for Donovan's big day. I think he's going to be a top 3 prospect in state along with Dante Moore in 2023. So Amir Herring's definitely going to be a Rivals 250 prospect. He loves Michigan. Michigan's high on his list early on. And Michigan's even offered a 2024 kid at West Bloomfield, Brandon Davis Swain, who played some defensive end and had some special teams work. He's a big kid. He's like 6'4", 220. Tough to judge him early on, but definitely has some size and athleticism. And then obviously on the other side, like I said, was Giovanni Ahati, who I haven't seen since last year. So I was really excited to get a chance to watch him play. I DM in the summer, but only at practice, going through conditioning. With Gio, I still have some of the same concerns I had last year. With Donovan, I expressed concerns. Donovan checked those boxes and took the next step. With Gio, I expressed concerns, and I haven't seen him check those boxes and take the next step. I think with him, he still has a little bit of, some slow feet issues, getting off the ball issues. I still think I think he's added some aggression to his game. I think he's finishing more blocks, but I don't think he's doing. So you might see a highlight block like he posted on Twitter, right? But he's not finishing blocks on a consistent basis. He's not even engaging and sticking with guys on a consistent basis. So that's what I need to see from Gio is more consistency, better feet, wanting to put guys in the dirt. And he's capable of doing that. And that's what makes it hard for me. When I look at his ranking, I wouldn't want to take away from his ranking too much because the things that he's missing are easily correctable. He's physically built really well. He's a big kid, strong. He's a knowledgeable kid. He's a smart kid off the field too. He has everything you want in an offensive lineman that can be 3 and done, but those little things need to be fixed. And I think you also have to understand situation. He's going into an offensive line room with Ed Warner, who obviously develops a lot of great offensive linemen. So it's tough to knock Gio because he has all these other great characteristics, and the characteristics that need improvement on are correctable issues. And he's going to play for a great offensive line coach. So at the end of the day, as much as Gio has been highly debated as far as where he should rank, I think he's going to be great just because he has all the tools to be great and he's going to play for a great coach.
Yeah, I was going to say, look no further than Ed Warner, who can bring that nastiness out of you, develop you if you don't have the feet. I mean, he's done it time and time again. Ohio State, Minnesota, doing it at Michigan. Obviously, 4 guys getting drafted last year. But what a breakdown from an absolutely loaded weekend of watching high school football, among doing other things that we'll talk about in some videos to come. But that is our high school recap. Check us out at thewolverine.com. Use the promo code Nike75. Get a free $75 Nike gift card in addition to 25% off of your first year at thewolverine.com. We'll catch you next time.